The Republican Party is changing, man, and it's kind of funny. The left will tell you that, Donald Trump destroyed the Republican Party, MAGA's taken over the party and blah, 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 blah. You know what? It makes sense that they think that, and I understand why they think that. And I'm going to show you why it is they do. They think that because they think this is what a real Republican actually looks like. This is what they think a real Republican actually sounds like.
Donald Trump has suffocated the soul of the Republican Party. His fundamental weakness has coursed through my party like an illness, sapping our strength, softening our spine, whipping us into a fever that has untethered us from our values.
He has no empathy, no morals, and no fidelity to the truth. He used to tell me, "It doesn't matter what you say, Stephanie. Say it enough and people will believe you."
His actions disqualified him from ever stepping foot into the Oval Office again.
Think about what you're hearing and what you're seeing here. The left thinks that a real Republican looks and sounds like Adam Kinzinger, right? And the left, they've always been this way, man. They glom onto and they adore Republicans that fit their narrative. When John McCain ran for president, they hated the guy. They told you that he was no good. But even if you did like him, he was going to die because he was so old, and Sarah Palin was an idiot. So you couldn't take that risk. You couldn't put her a heartbeat away from the presidency. They hated the guy. But the moment that Donald Trump also didn't like John McCain, then John McCain became a hero to the left. How dare Donald Trump talk about a hero prisoner of war being spineless, but this is how they operate. Republicans only have a spine when they act like they don't have a spine, basically. And here we have Adam Kinzinger opining on Donald Trump's fundamental weakness. And apparently Donald Trump is so weak that he suffocates the entire soul of the entire party and softens the entire spine of the entire party. Blah, 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 right? That's what a real Republican sounds like to the left. They think that joining at the hip with Republicans that do as they wish is what bipartisanship really looks like, what it's all about. And that's why they get so confused and so offended almost when they actually encounter a Republican that has a spine.
Those were some of the many Republicans who spoke out against Donald Trump this week at the Democratic Convention. I'm joined now by top Trump ally, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas. Welcome to This Week. So what do you make all those Republicans speaking at the Democratic Convention?
What I make of them is that Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. But what most Americans remember is that for 4 years when Donald Trump was president, we had peace and prosperity. Everything has gone to hell under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris over the last 4 years. And that's a clear contrast we have. This is an unusual presidential election because Donald Trump has been president before. The American people know what he did. They know that he understands the kind of pain they've suffered for the last 4 years under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And I think that's why they're ready to return Donald Trump to the White House.
That's just a taste, man. I'm going to show you more of this, but what did this guy expect him to say? Did he really, he didn't think this out. Does he just not know who or what Senator Tom Cotton really is? Did he think the guy was going to say, oh, I don't know why, I don't know what to make of those Republicans simping for the left. I don't know, maybe they're right. I don't know what he expected. That was never going to work. Tom Cotton has a very, very good chance to be president someday. And if we're lucky, he'll get that chance, right? But these lazy kind of gotcha or whatever you want to call what Jonathan Karl's doing here, they're not going to work on a guy like Tom Cotton.
And President Trump is going to draw a sharp contrast with Kamala Harris, who has supported things like decriminalizing illegal immigration or giving taxpayer-funded health insurance to illegal aliens or taking away health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans, banning gas cars, confiscating firearms.
What do you mean taking away health insurance? What are you talking about?
She said when she ran for president that she wants to eliminate private health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans, John.
Yeah, that is not her position now.
How do you know that's not her position? How do you know that's not her position?
She says she no longer supports Medicare for all.
She has not said that. Okay. Maybe anonymous aides on a Friday night have said that, but the last thing that she said on
this was not a radical convention. She as you heard me go through with Bernie Sanders, she is not taking the positions of the far left of her party. She's clearly making an effort to move to the middle.
I did hear what you said to Senator Sanders, and I thought it was clear that he's very disappointed that she's taking these efforts not to change her positions, but to hide her positions, John. The American people are totally justified to conclude that Kamala Harris is a dangerous San Francisco liberal based on what she campaigned on the last time she ran for president and what this administration has done for the last 4 years. Again, you would have thought watching the Democratic convention last week that the Democrats are not in office, that they're not in power, that they're campaigning against an incumbent Republican, when in reality, she's been part of the failures of the Biden-Harris administration for 4 years. And when she campaigned for president, in her own right, she did in fact promise things like decriminalizing illegal immigration and taking away health insurance.
But that's a position she's clearly changed on, and she has said she has changed. Yes, she has.
No, she has not. John, she has not said that. She's not. You pointed out, Senator Sanders, repeatedly things that her campaign has said. Anonymous aides speaking on background to reporters has said, well, she no longer believes these things. Okay, maybe she has changed her position on things like taking away your health insurance and confiscating your gun. If she has changed her position, she owes it to the American people to come out and say in her own words when she changed and why she changed. That's one reason why she needs to address the American people and speak to these questions, because the only basis they have to conclude what she will be like as president is what she's done for 4 years in this administration and what she said in her own voice in the last campaign. Remember, these are not like college essays, John. This is what she said when she was campaigning for president as a 54-year-old woman. If she's had such a radical change of heart in the last 5 years, she owes the American people answers.
So speaking of radical changes of heart, I want to ask you about what Donald Trump had to say just a couple of days ago.
These are not college essays we're talking about, John. She owes the American people answers. And that's just spot on, man. We need more politicians like this. And not just Republicans, man. Every politician, they need more spine. And he brought up Bernie Sanders. You know, Bernie Sanders, believe it or not, he's a good example of this. You know, I don't obviously agree with Bernie Sanders on basically anything, but the man says what he believes, and he doesn't care if you agree with him or not. Tom Cotton also believes what he believes. And John Carl, actually any of these mouthpiece propagandists, you know, they don't know how to handle a guy like this. You know, they can't reconcile anything that these people say. So they just move on to, you know, what about this? What about that? You know, Trump. You're killing me here. So let's talk about Trump. You know, why talk about Kamala Harris's radical positions that some nameless, faceless aide said she no longer believes in when we could talk about Trump? I mean, these people, they pretend like the information's not out there. They pretend like clips like this do not exist.
It is inhumane to make people go through a system where they cannot literally receive the benefit of what medical science can offer, because some insurance company has decided it doesn't meet their bottom line in terms of their profit motivation. That is inhumane.
Just to follow up on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, to reiterate, you support the Medicare for All bill, I think initially co-sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders. You're also a co-sponsor on it. I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care. And you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company, having them give you approval, going through the paperwork, all of the delay that may require. Who of us has not had that situation where you got to wait for approval and the doctor says, well, I don't know if your insurance company is going to cover this? Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Yeah, so that's not just communism, but it's the laziest, most poorly thought out form of communism possible. No real thought to if it would work or how it would work or who would even become a doctor, you know, who would do any future innovating. They don't think about any of that. Just shut it all down and move on. As she says, you know, everybody gets it. And by everybody, they literally mean everybody. Doesn't matter if you're supposed to be here or not, you get it. And, you know, listening to her, you know that she believes it. And you have to appreciate her passion, right? She believed in it and she was willing to take that case and that belief to the American people back in 2020. But now that she supposedly doesn't believe in this or any of the other crazy things that she's believed in, now she's afraid to take that case to the people. You know, she believes that just sending out some random staffer in the middle of the night to make a tweet disavowing all of her previously held questionable policy beliefs should be enough. And for whatever reason, the propagandists pretending to be journalists, they think that's enough too, but it's not enough, man. I mean, it can't be enough, right? Because if they can get away with campaigning like this, if they can be rewarded for hiding and manipulating the truth, then honestly, then there's nothing they can't get away with moving forward. And we'd be completely doomed. But that's all I've got, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, guys, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.